Hello and welcome to Faragadamu. What is it that young people are capable of doing when they fall for something that they think is worthwhile? My guests today make an annual pilgrimage to a village school near the border town of Matemma, trying to reach school kids. But where are they headed? A very warm welcome to the program. You came here 2 years ago and identified the place, right?
Yes.
Because you joined your father doing field work in northern Ethiopia.
Yeah, so my dad, he's been working in Ethiopia for over 25 years, and 20 of those years have been spent out in Metemma near Quora, and he finally got around to taking my sister and me out to Ethiopia, and we went along with him out to the site he was excavating outside of Shinfa.
He wanted to get the feel of it, you guys to get the feel of it, right?
Yeah. And going into that trip, I actually had aspirations to be an archaeologist. So I had thought that this would be a great opportunity for me to get some hands-on experience. And the thing that really stuck with me on the trip was when I visited one of the schools in the nearby town of Duramba. And the school was just the complete opposite of what I was expecting coming from the United States. And it had a deep impression on me because of some of the things that we take for granted in America were things that the children were struggling to attain.
What exactly are you talking about?
Well, so a lot of supplies that students are required to buy for themselves are uniforms, exercise books, pens, pencils, backpacks, just simple items that the government doesn't provide and that the students have to purchase for themselves. And so I was struck by the lack of those supplies simply because it's such it was an area that economically a lot of the families couldn't afford to buy all the supplies. And so when I went back to the United States, I worked with a couple of my high school friends, Ruth and our friends Piper and Jacob, and we started One Mind at a Time, and we made it into a charity, and we began our fundraising to make a change.
What did he tell you when he flew back from Ethiopia and sat down to talk to you about what he saw here?
Well, so the interesting thing is the first people who were involved in this was actually Piper, Jacob, and Jack. And I heard Piper talking about it one day, and I said, wait, what? What are you doing? I have to be a part of that. And I just was nagging and nagging and nagging. And I was like, Piper, no, I have to be a part of this. Like, let me talk to Jack. Can I talk to the club? Like, I have to be a part of it. And I don't know, I guess I went up to Jack and I told him I had a lot of travel experience before and experience with kids, and I've done projects similar to this, and it just really is what I want my career to be based on. It's what makes me happy. It's my passion. And I knew it was sort of an opportunity falling into my lap. You know, when do you have the opportunity to just start something like this? And with Dr. Kappelman, Jack's dad, we already had a lot of people in place, resources in place, and just information about the area. So I was just really on board from the get-go.
So what did you do? What was the first thing that you did when you sat down? You had your friends aboard, the four of them, right? Yeah. And then what was it that you started doing? And how did you embark on this project? One mind at a time?
Yeah,
yes.
1 mind at a time. Quite frankly, we didn't know what we were doing at all.
Obviously, you were engineers.
Juniors.
We were juniors in high school, and our school offered a course that it was called the Wicked Problem class, and what it was is it's just pick a problem in the world and try to solve it. And so I'd gone into that class thinking, I could maybe buy some new chalkboards and chalk for something like 20 schools in the area. And with the help of Piper, Jacob, and Ruth, we began reaching out to other local organizations in Austin and other ones outside of Austin that worked in Ethiopia so that we could get a feel for what are we taking on by trying to do this. And we met with multiple groups. One of them is called the Davis Moon Project. One of them is called A Glimmer of Hope. And they're both Ethiopia-based organizations, and they basically told us they guided us through the process of starting our organization and picking a problem that we wanted to solve. So from providing chalk and chalkboards to 20 different schools, it became make a partnership with one school so that you can sustain the needs that the community actually has. To not go in there thinking this is what they need, but rather to meet with them to discuss the actual problem.
He had the chance to visit Ethiopia, right? He never had until this time around. So, how did he visualize the partnership that he wanted to forge with that institution, with that school out there in Kwara?
Well, at first we were kind of thinking we'd go to a bigger city like Gandawuha and try to focus on more schools. But also we just didn't really know. We thought we'd be supplying bigger schools with maybe more basic needs. We didn't know that we were going to end up having aspirations. Like now we have aspirations for long-term projects. Like
because you've studied, you've talked to those people and so on, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm involved in nonprofits in the States, one of them is called Amigos de las Americas, and I met with their board. We all met with their board, and they really said, you need to meet with the teacher committees. You need to meet with the students. You need to focus on sustainability. So I had that, picture in my mind. Okay, I don't want to have too many assumptions or preconceived notions. I just need to be very open to it. So I definitely came to Ethiopia just thinking, okay, well, whatever happens is going to happen. I'm
flexible.
I'm going to make the best out of it. And I think because we had that mindset, we were able to grow so much and be successful. Yeah.
So you sat with the teachers, did that conversation.
Yeah.
What was it all about? How you want to be partners in this, or you just said we are coming with this number of supplies and this is what you need and we've brought this for you and just consume it. How did it go?
It was a really interesting. A really interesting couple of hours because we had just been in the town of Tumut to get some papers signed for my dad's project, and we were meeting with the town administrator, and we just happened to ask, is there a school here? She said, yeah, let's go walk over to it, because she had heard what we were trying to do, and we showed up at the school in the middle of the school day, and we met with one of the teachers, and we said, hey, we just want to talk, and they were all totally excited to have some foreigners, in at the school, and so they scrambled to find Principal Kasim, who then sat down with us and the two ARCCH representatives who were with us, Laka and Metasabia.
From the Ministry of Culture.
From the Ministry of Culture, yes. And they acted as interpreters, but they were also partners in the project. We couldn't have done anything that we wanted to without them. But what we told the teachers and Principal Kasim was that we're students that want to help other students with their own learning, and we told them, we have a limited budget, but we want to use the money that we've fundraised to get anything that you need, and that meeting it only lasted a little while, but they showed us around the school. And we basically fell in love with the school. It just seemed right for a school. And we came back the next day and we had a meeting with them, and they had prepared a list
of their needs,
of their needs in the order of which they needed them the most. And so we were able to look at that list, figure out here's something we can do, here's something we can't do. And they were able to elaborate on why they needed it, so we knew that we weren't just buying stuff that was going to sit in a locked trunk for the next couple.
So what did you do? What did you buy for those kids?
So their main need was uniforms. So we talked to the principal, Kasim, and then also other teachers there, and they were just saying that the students who don't have uniforms are embarrassed to go to school, and usually because of that, they're just not going to school. So it's a big psychological issue, and obviously just visually, you can see it. This is a student, who doesn't have money to buy a uniform, and this is a student who does. So we bought 63 uniforms, and that's about 10% of the total population at the school. So now those students have uniforms. They're going to school. The tailor actually came out, and we got to see him make the measurements, and the students were shy, but it was an amazing thing to see. It was very exciting. And then we bought mats for the kindergarteners, so that was really great to see because they were just sitting on a dirt floor. They had old mats, but it was so thin and worn out. It was basically just a dirt floor. So as soon as we put the mats down, they all ran over and they were all touching it, and it was just so cute.
You bought the mat from that village?
We bought them all in Gundawuha. All of our supplies, we just went there and bought them in one big round. And we bought radios and flash drives. And
what for?
They're being used for lessons. So on the flash drives, they can upload, different lessons, and then they're played in the classrooms. And all the classrooms have radios now, so it's just a good way to get different kinds of lessons to the students. We bought chalkboards, and we saw their chalkboards, and just immediately you could see they're falling apart. They have holes in them, so that's great. And the students are actually going to paint them themselves and put them together, so it's a good community effort. Pens, exercise books, and then we also really wanted to focus on the Gooms who are in that area. So in the area, there's a mixture of Amhara and Gooms, less Gooms, and we just wanted to create a partnership with them, engage them, support them. There's not that many Gooms at the school, so we wanted to get those numbers up and just make sure they know, you're welcome here, we're here for you. So we have the Goom Scholarship, in which 50 extra Gooms children now have exercise books and pens to go to school and attend classes. Soccer balls, volleyballs.
Yeah, I think that...
So you've drained your pocket, right?
We had a budget, and we were like, okay, what can we do? What can't we do? And some of the longer things, the more expensive things, we're going to have targeting fundraising for that. But right now, just the immediate needs, we were happy to supply.
So what was the conversation like after you delivered all the supplies?
Well, so before we delivered the supplies, we had met with the community panel of parents who run the school as the parent board, basically, and they had expressed their deep support for this and their cooperation with everything, and we wanted to make sure that any work that we were doing was entirely supported by the community. We didn't want to go in there one year, drop off a whole bunch of supplies, and leave, and the community think, what are we going to do? We haven't had any say in this. So we tried to make sure that all of the people involved at the school, from the kindergartners to the principal to the parents, that they all viewed themselves as stakeholders in the success of our work. So after we bought the supplies, and dropped them off. The next day we came and we met with the teachers at the school, and then right after that we met with the students. And our focus with that was to communicate with them about high school, because for students at Tumut General Primary School, there's no high school in Tumut. The closest one is Shinfa, which is about a 2-hour walk. So students who go on to high school, which is about 50% of the graduating class, have to rent rooms, and they have to live in Shinfa basically full time. And we wanted to figure
They can't do 4 hours every day. So.
Yeah. And we wanted to figure out what we could do to increase the rate of students going to high school. So the supplies themselves, after we delivered them, everybody was so excited to have these new supplies. And the day that we met with the teachers and the students was the first day that some of those radios had been used in class to broadcast the lessons. So it was really great to go into that, and the teachers, not all of them had known that it was us who'd provided the new radios, but when they heard that, they were very excited. And they all had their own needs and wants from us for the future. That we listened to.
That will take you to the second phase of your intervention, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So everything was received very well. Everyone was supportive of what we were trying to do, what we had done, and it turned out really well.
Well, and even when we were buying the supplies, the Tumut tailor who made all the uniforms, he was like, this is great. I'm going to give you guys a discount. And as we went down the line and we were talking to different store owners buying supplies, it's hard to get a discount, but they really did connect with the idea of, oh, these are for children. This is for the Tumut school.
I want to be part of it.
Yeah. So it was great because we do have stakeholders everywhere from, shop owners in Gundawuha to students in Tumut to their parents. So it was really great just to have such a, network of people involved.
And it wasn't just shop owners. It was a lot of the administrators. So when we were first starting out One Mind at a Time, one of the first people who I had contacted was Dr. Mulugeta Faseha, who was connected with my dad because he was one of my dad's former students. And I'd asked him, is this a feasible project? Like, how can this work? And he had said yes, and he had put me in contact with Otto Jonas Desta in the ARCCH, the Ministry of Culture, and he had shown us, all the different ways to get registered to actually do our work. But it was also the more grassroots people who were supportive of this. When we were buying supplies in Gundawuha, we had stopped at the office building that had the head of the Ministry of Education for that local region. And he was very excited to do this because, the government supplies a very good deal of supplies to students, but can't, give every student everything that they need. And so us filling that need is something that was warmly accepted not just by people in the Ministry of Education, but all administrators across the board.
So, do you have a clear vision what you want to do with this partnership? I mean, now that you have had the right field experience where you had this conversation with the community, with the students, that you have delivered what you can, given,
Yeah. Well, next year we do have plans for building a well and a building, so that's something that we are definitely fundraising for.
When you go back to Austin, Texas, right?
Yeah, and so that's something that our club will work with. So I think Jack already talked about it, but we have, just a club at our school, and, they're talking to their parents who talk to their friends who can donate money. And then also businesses. We're trying to get businesses to maybe host a fundraising event for us or donate to us. And then we've talked to teachers, and even our principal is very thrilled about the project. So we are having all the U.S. students working towards that for fundraising. But in terms of other projects, I thought the talk with the students and the teachers about high school was very, very interesting because there is a very big need because it's, cost of living, that's food, rental, water, and then also materials. So, maybe we can't supply all of that, but maybe they just need some reference books that we can help them with, or even just college or high school counseling, just having students from Shinfa say, this is what high school is like. And then even university students talking to the kids, which with Dr. Kappelman's project, he has some undergrads from the U.S. as well as Ethiopia coming to the school. And something we really wanted the Ethiopian students to do was to talk to the students about, hey, this is what university is like. This is what careers it can take you to. So we're going to try to focus on higher education and then also more tangible things like the building and the well, and possibly branch out to other schools. And we're really interested in just getting more U.S. students to Ethiopia and more Ethiopian students out to this area and talking to the students.
Interesting. You're high school seniors, right? You're graduating this year, right?
Yes.
And in this NGO that you've created, you've established, you don't allow in adults, right?
We do not.
It's
student-to-student learning.
Student to students, yeah.
Well, so, one thing that I think will work really well is that Ruth and I have very similar tracks for college, is with wanting to study international relations with, focusing on international development and stuff like that. And some of the colleges that we're looking at are ones that, even when we were applying to those colleges, they expressed deep interest in One Mind at a Time and it being a project that, the college could take on. So for us, with focusing entirely on students, eventually I think we will have to, hand over the reins and let some other students.
Those are high school students. Yeah. Interesting. You want it to stay that way, right?
We do want it to stay that way, and we think it's entirely possible for it to maintain being run by students because so far,
we're doing it.
yeah. We've done it so far.
Yeah.
So what are you taking out of this experience? I mean, it's not just one-way traffic, is it?
No. I mean, it's been really great being in Ethiopia. I think in America, you know, we're so close to South America and Latin America, and we hear about that, or, you know, we hear about Europe, but Africa, it's not really something I've heard about as much, or I didn't really know that much about the culture, so it's been amazing being here, and, you know, having Injara and Tagabino Shiro, but then also just working with the kids in the school, because even though they don't have many supplies, you know, they're not asking for crazy things. They would say, you know, 50 reference or 50 notebooks is okay. You don't have to get more. And we were like, no, we can get more. It's okay. But they were extremely just humble. They didn't want to ask for too much. They were gracious. So that's been really amazing, just to see a culture that is so down to earth. I thought that was really great.
My takeaway is this is a project that, you know, I've been working towards for a very long time, and it's been great to see it succeed. And one of the things that's impacted me the most is seeing the impact that, you know, this project has had on the students and on the community. The community has rallied behind our work, and one of the ways that we want to give back is through potentially setting up a adult education opportunity. So the adults in the area who haven't gone to school or haven't completed school could attend classes on Saturdays, and the teachers are willing to do that, and we could give the teachers a salary to, you know, teach those classes. But also the impact that we've had on the students who have been struggling is one that's it's very tangible, and you can see the effects of it.
But the impact on you.
And the impact, well, it's been seeing the success, and that the work that we're doing is having an impact on others, and through that it has an impact on us, because it's just really, really fulfilling to see what you've been working for a very long time get accepted and to do so successfully.
Of the impact it's had on me, I think it's really solidified my desire to work in public development. Coming here, it just really was gratifying, and now I know, yes, this is what I want to major in college. This is what I want my career to be in. So that was just really great to just have that affirmation.
Yeah, Ruth, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
And Jack, it was a pleasure.